Rain poured down
I
in
told you to
sheets
leave!
as Jean-Woo
I don't
grabbed
want to see you
Sophia's
again!
arm and pushed her toward the apartment door. I told you to
I
leave.
told you to leave!
I don't want to see
I don't
you
want to
again.
see you again!
Sophia stumbled.
Jinwoo, please,
her
just
hand
listen to me.
instinctively going
We
to
can
her
figure this
barely
out
visible
together.
Baby bump. 3 months pregnant, and he was
Jinwoo,
throwing her
please,
out
just
like
listen
trash.
to me. We can figure
Jinwoo,
this out
please,
together.
Just listen to me. We can figure this out together.
Figure what out? You got pregnant on purpose to trap. Figure what out? You got pregnant on purpose to trap. Figure what out? You got pregnant to trap me.
I told you I
wasn't ready for kids. I told you I had career plans.
I
But
told
you didn't
you I had
listen.
career
On purpose to
plans.
trap. Figure what
But you
out?
didn't
You got
listen.
pregnant on.
It was an accident. I didn't plan this. It was an accident. I didn't plan this. It was an accident. But it's happening, and I need you. Our baby needs you.
Get out.
Get
He threw
out!
a purse at her feet.
I don't care about you, so you're not problemating me anymore. You want to keep fine, but do it alone. I want nothing to do with either of you. Get out!
You're not my
I
problem
don't care about you, so you're not
anymore.
problemating me anymore. You
You
want to
wanna
keep
keep it?
fine, but do it
Fine.
alone. I want
But
nothing to
do
do
it
with either
alone.
of you. Get
I
out!
want nothing to do with
I
either
don't care
of
about you, so you're not problemating me.
Jinwoo,
I love you.
Love is not enough. You made
He
your
laughed
choice.
bitterly.
Now deal with the consequences
Love doesn't
alone.
trap someone with an unwanted
Jinwoo,
pregnancy.
I love you.
You
Love
made
is
your
not
choice to
enough.
keep
You
it.
made your choice.
Now
deal with the consequences alone.
He slammed
Jinwoo,
the
I
door
love
in her
you.
face so
Love is not
hard the
enough.
sound
You made your
echoed through
choice.
the
Now
empty
deal with the
hallway.
consequences alone.
Sophia stood there in the pouring rain, completely soaked, tears mixing with the water streaming down her face. She bent down to pick up her phone, her hands shaking so badly she could barely grasp it. The screen was cracked, just like her heart. She was 3 months pregnant, alone in Seoul with no family, and the man she'd loved for 2 years had just thrown her out like garbage. She didn't even know how she'd pay next month's rent. If you want to know how this story ends with a prince fighting for a child that isn't his blood, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling me what you would do in this situation. Let's get into it. 5 months later, Sophia was 8 months pregnant and exhausted from a double shift at the restaurant where she worked as a waitress. Her manager had been understanding about her pregnancy, but she still needed the hours to save money for the baby. The rain was coming down hard again. It seemed like rain always accompanied the worst moments of her life, as she stood on the street corner, trying to flag down a taxi. Her feet were so swollen they barely fit in her shoes. Her back ached with a pain that made her want to cry, and tears of frustration streamed down her face as taxi after taxi passed her by, drivers taking one look at her enormous belly and driving on, not wanting to risk a pregnant woman going into labor in their cab. A sleek black car pulled up beside her, and the back window rolled down. A handsome man with kind eyes and an expensive suit looked out at her. "Miss, are you all right?" Sophia wiped her face, trying to maintain some dignity. "I'm fine, just trying to get home." "In your condition?" "In this rain." The man opened his door and stepped out with an umbrella, immediately shielding her from the downpour. "Please, let me give you a ride. I'm Prince Jaehyun of the royal family. I can't in good conscience leave you standing here. My mother would be ashamed of me. I couldn't impose on royalty." "You're not imposing. You're accepting help when you clearly need it." His smile was gentle and genuine, reaching his eyes. "Please. My car is warm and dry, and you look like you're about to collapse." Sophia was too tired and wet and miserable to argue. She got into the car, and the warmth and leather seats and soft music made her want to cry again, this time from relief. The driver started moving, and Prince Jaehyun sat beside her, maintaining a respectful distance while offering her a soft blanket. "Where are you headed?" She gave her address, a modest apartment in a working-class neighborhood. "Thank you so much. I've been standing there for almost an hour. May I ask why you're out so late in your condition?" "Work. I had a double shift." Sophia tried to sound casual, but exhaustion crept into her voice. "And the father? He allows you to work like this while pregnant." Sophia's joy tightened. "There is no father. Not anymore." Jaehyun didn't push. When they reached her building, he helped her out of the car. "I know this might seem forward, but may I have your phone number? I'd like to check that you got home safely." Sophia hesitated, then gave it to him. What harm could it do? Over the next month, Jaehyun didn't just check on her once. He called every day, visited twice a week, and slowly became the support system Sophia desperately needed. He brought groceries, always remembering she liked strawberries and couldn't stomach certain smells. He helped her set up the nursery, spending an entire Saturday painting the walls a soft yellow because she'd mentioned wanting something cheerful. He sat with her during late-night panic attacks about becoming a single mother, holding her hand and reminding her she was stronger than she knew. "Why are you doing this?" Sophia asked one evening as he assembled a crib, his expensive shirt rolled up to his elbows as he studied the confusing instructions. "You're a prince. You don't even know me. You could be anywhere, doing anything, and yet you're here building furniture for a stranger's baby." Jaehyun looked up from the instruction manual, his eyes serious. "I know enough. I know you're strong enough to work double shifts while 8 months pregnant. I know you're brave enough to choose your child even when it meant being alone. I know you're trying to do right by your baby despite having no help." He set down the screwdriver. "And I know what it's like to feel alone. My parents died in a car accident when I was 10. I was raised by palace staff and protocol. Everyone was professional, but no one was really there. I don't want anyone to feel that kind of isolation, especially not a woman about to become a mother." "I'm sorry about your parents," Sophia said softly. "They would have liked you. My mother always said the measure of a person is what they do when life gets hard. You're passing that test with flying colors." When Sophia went into labor at 2 a.m., Jaehyun was the one she called, and he was there within 15 minutes, still in pajamas with a coat thrown over them. He rushed her to the hospital, held her hand through 12 hours of contractions, wiped her forehead, coached her breathing, and never once left her side even when the nurses assumed he was the father and he didn't correct them. When Hannah was finally born, tiny and perfect and screaming, the doctor asked, "Would the father like to cut the cord?" Jaehyun looked at Sophia, asking permission with his eyes. She nodded through tears, and he cut the cord with shaking hands, tears streaming down his face. "She's perfect," he whispered, as the nurse cleaned and wrapped the baby. "Absolutely perfect." When they placed Hannah in Sophia's arms, Jaehyun sat on the edge of the hospital bed, and both of them cried as they looked at this tiny miracle. And Sophia watched him cradle her daughter moments later with such tenderness and wonder, and she realized she was falling in love with this gentle prince who'd become her savior, and now her daughter's first real father figure. Over the next year, Jaehyun was there for everything. Hannah's first smile, first laugh, first steps. He was the one who walked the floors with her during sleepless nights. He was the one who changed diapers, prepared bottles, and sang lullabies. He was, in every way that mattered, Hannah's father. On Hannah's first birthday, Jaehyun took Sophia to a beautiful garden overlooking the city. Hannah was with Sophia's neighbor who'd become like a grandmother to the little girl. "I need to tell you something," Jaehyun said, taking Sophia's hands. "This past year has been the happiest of my life. Not because of royal duties or wealth, but because of you and Hannah. You've become my family." "Jaehyun, let me finish. I know Hannah isn't mine by blood, but she's mine in my heart. And I love her mother more than I thought possible to love anyone." He pulled out a ring box. "Marry me, Sophia. Let me be the father Hannah deserves. Let me be the husband you deserve. Let me love you both for the rest of my life." Sophia was crying. "You really want to marry a single mother? Take on another man's child. I want to marry the woman I love and adopt the daughter I've raised. If you'll have me." "Yes," Sophia sobbed. "Yes, of course, yes." They married quietly 3 months later. Jaehyun formally adopted Hannah, and they became a real family. The next 4 years were beautiful. Hannah grew up calling Jaehyun Appa, never knowing he wasn't her biological father. They were happy, complete, and secure in their love. Then came the day everything changed. Sophia was at the supermarket with 5-year-old Hannah, picking up groceries. Hannah was chattering away about her kindergarten class when someone called out, "Sophia?" She froze. That voice. She turned slowly and saw Jinwoo standing there, a woman beside him. He looked older, more tired, but it was definitely him. Jinwoo. Her voice was ice. His eyes dropped to Hannah, and Sophia saw recognition dawn on his face. "Is she? We need to go." Sophia grabbed Hannah's hand. "Wait. Sophia, please. Can we talk? We have nothing to talk about. She's my daughter, isn't she? She looks exactly like my mother." The woman beside Jinwoo looked stricken. "Jinwoo, what is she talking about?" "I'll explain later, Minji." He took a step toward Sophia. "Please. Just 5 minutes. You had your chance 5 years ago. You threw us out in the rain. Remember? Sophia's voice shook with anger. You said I wasn't your problem. I made a mistake. I was scared and stupid, and I've regretted it every day since. Good. You should regret it. Sophia picked up Hannah. Stay away from us. She rushed out of the store, her heart pounding. That night, after putting Hannah to bed, she told Jaehyun everything. He wants to meet her? Jaehyun's voice was calm, but Sophia could see the tension in his jaw. I didn't give him a chance to ask. But yes, I think that's what he wanted. And what do you want? I want him to disappear. He gave up the right to be her father when he kicked us out. Sophia's hands shook. You're her father. You've been there from the beginning. He doesn't get to waltz back in now. Jaehyun pulled her close. Then we'll handle this together. Whatever happens, we're a family. But Jinwoo didn't disappear. 3 days later, Sophia received a legal notice. Jinwoo was filing for paternity rights and partial custody of Hannah. He can't do this. Sophia cried, showing the papers to Jaehyun. He can't just claim her now. Jaehyun's face was grim. Unfortunately, he can. Biologically, he's her father. The courts will at least hear his case. But you raised her. You're on her birth certificate as her father. After I adopted her, yes. But if he proves biological paternity, he might have rights. The first court hearing was brutal. Jinwoo's lawyer painted him as a man who'd made a mistake in his youth and now wanted to make amends. They showed that he had a stable home, a good job, and the means to provide for Hannah. My client deeply regrets his initial reaction to the pregnancy, the lawyer said. He was young, scared, and made a terrible decision. But now he's married, established, and ready to be the father he should have been. Sophia's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, my client's husband has been Hannah's father in every meaningful way for 5 years. Mr. Park Jinwoo abandoned them when Ms. Sophia needed him most. He has no relationship with this child. Forcing visitation would traumatize her. The judge looked at Jinwoo. Mr. Park, why are you seeking custody now? Why not years ago? Jinwoo stood. Your Honor, I didn't know where they were. Sophia changed her number, moved. I tried to find her but couldn't. He looked directly at Sophia. And yes, I was a coward. I married thinking I could move on. But my wife and I have struggled with infertility for 5 years. Every doctor's appointment, every negative test, reminded me of the child I rejected. Then I saw Hannah in that store and I knew. She's my daughter. And I can't walk away again. So you only want her because your wife can't have children? Sophia shouted, standing up. She's not a replacement baby. She's a little girl who has a father who loves her. Order. The judge banged his gavel. Miss Sophia, please sit down. Jaehyun stood, his voice steady but firm. Your Honor, I'd like to speak. Go ahead, Your Highness. I met Sophia when she was 8 months pregnant, alone in the rain, trying to get home from work. I've been part of Hannah's life since before she was born. I cut her umbilical cord. I held her through her first night. I taught her to walk, to speak, to read. His voice grew emotional. I'm not her biological father, but I am her father. And forcing her to have a relationship with a stranger because of DNA would destroy her. Jinwoo's wife, Minji, suddenly stood up. Your Honor, may I speak? The judge nodded, looking surprised. Minji looked at her husband with tears in her eyes. I didn't know about any of this until 3 days ago. Jinwoo told me he'd never been able to have children before. He never mentioned abandoning a pregnant woman. She turned to Sophia. I'm so sorry for what he did to you. And I'm sorry he's doing this now. Minji, what are you doing? Jinwoo hissed. The right thing. She looked at the judge. I love my husband, but this isn't about love or being a father. This is about him trying to fix his guilt by taking a child from the only family she's ever known. That's not right. And I won't be part of it. The courtroom was silent. Jinwoo looked devastated. Minji, please. I think we need to talk. About a lot of things. She walked out, and after a moment, Jinwoo followed her. The judge called a recess, and when they reconvened an hour later, Jinwoo's lawyer asked to withdraw the custody petition. Your Honor, my client has decided not to pursue this matter further. Is this true, Mr. Park? Jinwoo stood, looking broken. Yes, Your Honor. My wife helped me see that I'm being selfish. Hannah doesn't know me. I gave up the right to be her father 5 years ago. He looked at Sophia and Jaehyun. I'm sorry. For everything. I hope someday Hannah will know that I regret every moment I wasn't there. But you're right. She has a father. And he's a better man than I ever was. The judge dismissed the case and Sophia collapsed in relief. Jaehyun held her as she cried. Outside the courthouse, Jinwoo and Minji were talking by their car. Sophia approached them, Jaehyun beside her. Thank you, Sophia said to Minji, for what you did in there. I'm sorry for what my husband put you through. Both then and now. Minji looked at Jinwoo. We have a lot to work through. Jinwoo looked at Sophia. Can I ask one thing? When Hannah's older, if she ever wants to know about me, will you tell her the truth? I'll tell her that a man named Jinwoo was scared when he found out about her. That he made a terrible mistake. And that years later, he tried to make it right but realized the best thing he could do was leave her with the family who loved her. Sophia's voice softened slightly. I'll tell her that you tried. In the end. That's more than I deserve. Yes, it is. Jinwoo and Minji drove away and Sophia watched them go. She felt Jaehyun's arm around her shoulders. Is it over? She asked. It's over. Let's go home to our daughter. When they got home, Hannah ran to them, jumping into Jaehyun's arms. Appa, you're back. Did you bring me a surprise? The surprise is that I get to be your Appa forever and ever, Jaehyun said, spinning her around. No one will ever take that away. That night, after Hannah was asleep, Sophia and Jaehyun sat on the couch, exhausted but relieved. I was so scared, Sophia admitted. Scared that the court would give him rights. Scared that Hannah would be confused or hurt. Scared of losing our family. We're not losing anything. We're stronger than ever. Jaehyun kissed her forehead. Jinwoo might have given Hannah life, but we gave her a family. Love isn't about blood. It's about showing up every single day and choosing to stay. You showed up when no one else would. And I'll keep showing up. For you. For Hannah. For us. Sophia looked at their wedding photo on the wall, then at the hallway where Hannah's artwork was displayed. This was their family. Built not on biology, but on love, sacrifice, and choice. A few weeks later, they were at the park with Hannah when they saw Jinwoo and Minji walking together. The couple looked different, lighter somehow. They saw Sophia's family, but didn't approach. Jinwoo just raised his hand in a small wave, an acknowledgement, and kept walking. Who is that, Yama? Hannah asked. Just someone who learned an important lesson, Sophia said, holding her daughter close. What lesson? That family isn't always about who made you. Sometimes it's about who chose to love you. Sophia looked at Jaehyun, who was watching her with those same kind eyes that had offered her a ride in the rain years ago. And the people who choose you are the ones who matter most. Jaehyun picked up Hannah and spun her around, making her giggle. And we chose you, little one. Every single day. I choose you too, Appa. Hannah wrapped her arms around his neck. You're the best Appa in the whole world. Watching them, Sophia felt a peace she'd never thought possible on that rainy night when Jinwoo had thrown her out. She'd thought her life was ending. Instead, it had been the beginning of something beautiful. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best blessings. Sometimes the person who saves you isn't the one you expected. And sometimes, family is built not in moments of passion, but in quiet acts of daily love. 3 months later, Sophia was surprised to receive a letter from Jinwoo. It was short and simple. I wanted you to know that Minji and I have started the adoption process. We've decided to build our family through love rather than biology, and I have you to thank for that lesson. Watching you and Prince Jaehyun showed me what real parenthood looks like. Thank you for showing me that. I hope you're all happy. You deserve every bit of happiness. Jinwoo. Sophia showed the letter to Jaehyun, who smiled. He finally learned what you knew all along. That being a parent is a choice you make every day. Do you think we should tell Hannah someday? About Jinwoo. When she's older and asks questions, we'll tell her the truth. But we'll also tell her that the man who loved her from the start, who chose her every day, is her real father. He pulled Sophia close. And that would be me. That would definitely be you. Years later, When Hannah was 10 years old, she did ask about her birth father. Sophia and Jaehyun told her the story honestly about Jinwoo's fear, his rejection, and his attempt years later to be part of her life. "Do you wish you'd let him be my dad too?" Hannah asked. "No," Sophia said firmly. "Because you already have a dad. The best dad. The man who's been there since before you were born." "And what about the other man?" "Jinwoo. He's someone who made mistakes but learned from them. Someone who finally understood what family really means." Hannah thought about this, then climbed into Jaehyun's lap. "I'm glad you found us in the rain, Appa. I'm glad you chose us." "I'm glad too, sweetheart. Best decision I ever made." And watching her family together, her husband and daughter curled up reading a book, Sophia knew that everything had worked out exactly as it should. The rain that had once been a symbol of her darkest moment had led her to her greatest blessing. Sometimes you have to weather the storm to find your rainbow. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more emotional stories. Drop a comment and tell me, do you believe family is about blood or about who shows up? Would you have handled this differently? Share your thoughts below. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, the people who choose to love you are your real family. See you in the next story.